everybody, welcome back to the Fabric Beautique. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Welcome to all my new subscribers. I thank you so much for clicking on the video and coming on in so you can hear about my experience as an attendee at the Millions Conference. So for those who may have missed or might be interested, I was an attendee as well as a vendor at Millions Conference here in Houston, Texas, the weekend of April 28th, 2023. So if you want to know my experience as a vendor, I did do a separate video in case you missed it. I will pop up a picture here and link it up here in the iCard. You can go ahead and go back and check that out and get a full review of that. And so yeah, make sure you go check that out if you are interested. But I have my notes from the Millions Conference. Not a whole heck of a lot. There are a few points I do want to make between obviously between being a vendor and being an attendee. It's two totally different experiences. If you, at least from my personal opinion, it's two totally different experiences for me. And so yeah, I won't get into the vending aspect of it. So this will all be, and I'll try to keep this relatively short. So the theme for those who may not have attended is survival of the fittest. And so it was a really good theme, and actually the topics from all of the speakers were really timely, and I thought weaved in quite well to the theme of the event. So as an attendee, a few things that I enjoyed about it, and I will pop up some video and some pictures where I can of different things that I have captured. I tried to capture from the vendor vantage point in my previous video. So yeah, this will all be from as an attendee perspective. So first of all, I didn't go as a VIP. VIP was the 27th, and that was a half day on the 27th, which was a Thursday. And then you had all day the 28th and all day the 29th. So that Friday and Saturday was general admission. So I paid for the general admission fee. And so a few of the things that I absolutely thought was so much fun and that I saw that I enjoyed was there were a couple, was it three, I want to say booths, podcast booths. And so I did do my podcast booth on the second day. I didn't get a chance on the first day because we were quite busy running around, but on that second day I went around and took pictures. I took some video, so you should be seeing that here of me walking around so you can kind of see. And this was early in the morning after I got there as a vendor. I went around, you know, got all that set up, and then I walked around, and then I did the vendor booth, the podcast booths. And so what was nice about that, I got pictures in there, and then I did my little podcast. But what was so fun about that is they were complimentary. So if you were able to go and do one of the podcast booths, whatever you recorded, it was an 80-second video, I want to say, which I thought was quite long. People might not think that's long, 80 seconds, but that is that is quite a good length of time. But I was able to do that, and what they did was send you the link to your video. And so I received the link to my video, and I was able to download that and save that. So I'll always have that for my experience. And then there were two other ones as well. So that was fun. And then what I also enjoyed was, of course, meeting different people. It was so nice to meet so many people from all over. People came from all over. It was several thousand people there. And so people came from all over, the attendees and everything. And actually, that Thursday evening was covered by God. The the ministry message, and that message was brought by Reverend Solomon, who was also at the conference as well, and I got a picture with him. So yeah, that was fun. That was nice because I've gone through that book, his book, several times. I've read it and continue to read it periodically throughout, shared it with many friends, many people that have also read it. So very powerful book. If you have not purchased that book, I will leave a link to his Amazon store down below, and you can go check that out. But it is an awesome, awesome book. Then, so far as before I get into the speakers, let me just say, as an attendee, one of the things that was unexpected, and I did touch on this in my previous video, is there were no breaks. Out of everything for the conference, for me, I will say that's the only thing I did not like, is not having dedicated breaks, even if it was, you know, 15 minutes or something like that. Any other conference I have attended, it doesn't matter if it's this type of conference or a business conference or whatever, you get 15 minutes of breaks between each speaker, typically 10 to 15 minutes, nothing long, because you don't need people wandering around and, you know, not coming back and different things of that nature. But there were no breaks, none whatsoever. And from talking to other people that attended previous Millions conference, from my understanding, this was the first time there were no breaks for in between speakers or anything like that. So yeah, my recommendation is don't hold a conference where you don't have like no breaks. And so people just had to, and since it was unexpected that first day, you know, people were hungry, and I was also a vendor, but people left and just went to the, you know, restroom if they need to go, obviously, and went to eat, obviously, if they needed to go eat, have something to eat. But that was the only thing I did not like, is not having any breaks. Even if there was, you know, say you didn't have the multiple breaks in between speakers, maybe you had just a half an hour break in the middle of the day, or an hour break or something like that, something to break it up. It did not start on time, just because some people didn't arrive as, you know, the time when she said to arrive. And so that kind of delayed it starting on time, but it started on time the next day. So that was all good. So I would say that was the only part that I didn't appreciate and I did not like, is not having a break. It's good to have breaks, but you know, after you learned that after that first day, that second day, folks definitely was taking breaks and everything. And the part about that that's unfortunate is that if, you know, there aren't any dedicated breaks, then, and people just walk out because they're hungry or, you know, and all this other type of thing, they're missing potentially some good information, because the nuggets that were dropped, and I'll go right into that now, the nuggets that were dropped by the speakers were so good. All of the speakers were so good, and we had a variety. I'm not sure, I have not checked if the speakers pictures are up on the website now, because it was never announced who the speakers were going to be prior to, and I wasn't fazed by that at all, not knowing who the speakers were ahead of time. But the speakers were really good, and so I did like how each of them, I mean, we had Kevin Ewing, always love when he speaks, and he actually, did he talk about his new book, or people were talking about his new book? Apparently he has a new book that has come out, and so about prayers and everything. That was really good. What I also enjoyed was Terica Lynn Smith. She talked about real estate, because that is one of the things my husband and I are thinking. I mean, you all, for those who follow, know that we built a house, but we also want to potentially get into real estate. Neither one of us was really into wanting to deal with real estate, but we do have friends that's in real estate, and we actually have a good friend that she's not only in real estate, but she also has a property management company. And so after listening to Terica Lynn Smith talk on real estate and everything like that, that jarred up some things. And then the attorney, Kiana, I think it was her name, Kiana. I didn't write her name down, I just put attorney. There was a couple things that she mentioned that I thought was really good so far as structure. If you, as you continue to build your structure, she talked about intellectual property and things of that nature, getting a trademark. the Fabric Beautique has a trademark, has had a trademark for several years. I've always had a trademark. Now, at the time when I obtained my trademark, because on the USPTO.gov website, they actually have a series of videos if you want to apply for your trademark yourself. I didn't pay for an attorney to do my trademark. I actually sat and watched all of the videos. On several occasions, it was like a whole school situation for me because I knew I needed to trademark the Fabric Beautique. And so that's what I did. So that is something that she talked about for those who are in business and you're looking to trademark. You know, this is beyond just getting your LLC or, you know, sole proprietorship, that type thing. But this is now you're protecting your brand. And so I did that myself several years ago. And so what I did is I watched the videos, but there are attorneys out there such as her that can help with that. And then Leslie Osei, did I say her name right? Hopefully she brought a powerful message. I don't have a title for hers, but she kind of gave a little bit of her experience and her history, actually her you know, being from Ghana and building wealth and things of that nature as well. And then who else did we have? Who else did I had notes from? I had notes from everybody, but I can see now that I didn't break up my I didn't break up the titles too good. But here's the thing, I am still digesting all of these notes and going back through and just really just honing in on a few things, because I highlighted, you know how you make notes and you highlight key areas that you want to go back to, especially where there were scripture references. Definitely you want to do that. And then we had, it was someone that I hadn't heard of him. Of course, Kevin Ewing, powerful. That was all day one. And so day two was Tiffany Montgomery's son did a short presentation, and then Pastor Bev Tucker, she did a deliverance session that was really good. What had everybody falling out was Rochelle T. Parks, health motivator. I hadn't been following her. I tried to make sure the people I wasn't following, because some people I wasn't following, like Bev Tucker. I wasn't following her, so I made sure to follow her. And then Rochelle T. Parks, just her, I mean, she had the whole conference just fell out when she was talking about foods and different types of foods and sodium, and then of course the talk about vitamin D. And I've been hearing about the vitamin D, increase in vitamin D a lot, and we actually just ordered some vitamin D to make sure that we get that in, because I know, you know, we are definitely deficient there. Although I do walk and I'm outside a lot every day, but still you need to get that extra in. And another person I had not heard of is Marquise Gold, so his presentation was really good. And then the last person was Sophia Ruffin. I feel like I'm missing somebody, but anyway, Sophia Ruffin, and her message was really, really good. Although by the time it got to her, the last speaker, it was, and I don't know if it was the volume that her microphone was set at or what, but a lot of us in the back couldn't hear her. It sounded a little mumbled, and so I don't know if they needed to fix her mic or what. You can hear her in the beginning, but as she progressed, it kind of sound mumbled a little bit, and you can catch some of the words all the way through. But it was so good. Like I said, I have so many notes I will be going back over. Had a really good time. One of the things that Marquise Gold did was he had many of us who have, maybe some of us have multiple businesses, or maybe you have a business that you didn't, it's the first business idea that maybe you didn't put the foot to the gas pedal on, or that you need to revisit or whatever. He had us put the name of that business, and he put it in the manger, as he called it. But that was part of his message. That was really good too. But I wrote I have a ton of notes. I would be talking all day if I went over every single thing. But I did want to come in as promised and let you know my overall assessment and my overall experience as an attendee. I absolutely loved it. It was phenomenal. The speakers were phenomenal. The one thing I would say, aside from maybe the real estate agent Terica Lynn and probably also Dr. Rochelle, Rochelle Parks, I wish the speakers would have spoken a little bit more to how they transition, because some people, I'm not one that believes everybody needs to have their own business and, oh, you need to stop working for the man and run and do this and do that. There is room for people who want to, and some of them did, still work maybe their full-time jobs as they began building their businesses, and then they transitioned off of that into where they're able to, you know, work as full-time entrepreneurs. I wish we would have heard a little bit more of that, because their stories and their messages were so powerful in itself, but they were powerful where they are now as opposed to that transition period. And some people, because the conference wasn't set up where it's for brand new entrepreneurs, oh, how do you set up an LLC, what does it mean to have, it wasn't how to be an entrepreneur ABCs. This is, if you are, I felt like the messages from everyone that was there was if you already had a business, different things to think about, and making sure that it's Bible based. And that is one thing that Kevin Ewing honed in on, was that everything is done at the from a kingdom of God perspective, from kingdom heaven perspective. Leslie also, Miss Leslie also came from that perspective as well, heavy from that perspective as well. But I would have liked to hear more of that transition, because several of the speakers did go to school, have degrees, obtain their degrees, that they were able to leverage that in their businesses and ministries now that they're running, and to probably have heard more of that connection. Because again, not everybody wants to necessarily, for example, let me just use myself as an example. I absolutely love what I do for my 9 to 5. I'm an auditor. I enjoy that line of work, that line of business. But I know how I have used that, those skills, that skill set, especially as a discipline, as an auditor, in my work, in my business as well. And so at the level that they've been able to obtain their success using, you know, obviously Bible-based kingdom principles, to hear more of that connection would have been phenomenal. That would have been great to hear. So we didn't get as much of that, but what we got still was so good. So good. A lot to chew on, for sure. But outside of that, that was it. That's all I wanted to share. Would I attend again? Absolutely. I would definitely attend as an attendee again. I don't know. I'm still, even after talking to a few, because there were a few people, because it was, you know, as you meet people and you talk to people and you get to sit around and chit chat about, you know, if you were in VIP or if you were in general session. One of the ladies that I was with, hanging out with, she attended VIP. I want to say she said every year since the conference started, except this was the first year she did not. And from her personal experience, she felt that she got just as much information, just as good information, even though she did not attend the VIP. Just being in the room, and that's one thing when her and I were talking about, was just being in the room, getting just present, getting that information, and just being able, obviously you know, you pass the different speakers in the hall, or you be able to take pictures with them or talk to them or do whatever. You know, that was just very powerful. So I don't think I would do VIP, just general admission for me. It was good. It was good. I thought it was really good. I thought it was good, but that's just me. I thought it was really, really good. But yeah, all of it goes back to Bible-based kingdom principles, Obviously, we all have to have our own walk and relationship with God and what he wants to tell us. For those who desire to get out of, working for someone else and want to do full-time entrepreneurship 100% of the time. Again, that's all based on your personal talk with God, and just realizing that if you are working somewhere, a 9 to 5 that you don't desire to be at for long, and you want to do 100% full-time entrepreneurship, that's great. That is awesome. But just realize that 9 to 5 is probably helping fund in some way that business. So let's not take that for granted, right? In that process. So until you are able to say, you know what, I don't need to do that anymore. Now I can do it 100%. But yeah, this is some good information. Like I said, I have quite a few pages of notes. And so, like I said, I am still digesting. I am still going over things. There are a few things that I highlighted to go back to. So I will be doing that over the next several months because I'm writing out. What I tend to do is if I go to something like this and I have all these notes, I go back and revisit, and those certain sections of notes create a whole nother notebook of notes. That's just how I do it. So for me, it's gonna be a few months. I want to digest over some things, pray more over some different ideas, some downloads that I personally receive from the Holy Spirit, and be able to continue to flush those out. But I am so super excited for the Fabric Beautique and what's coming. You all know I've already shared some of that with you. And so for me, the plan is to continue to upload a video once a week, every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. So if you have not subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe. Make sure you are following over on Instagram, on Facebook as well. And feel free to subscribe to the newsletter if you want to know, get to know some of the new things that are coming about. Next week, Wednesday, will probably be a product focus video. And that will be the prayer and devotional pillows, the new design, to discuss those a little bit more. Or might be something else. But I have several things planned for you. I also have the DIY. I might do the DIY next week instead. But we shall see. Either way, make sure that you stay tuned. And so yeah, that is it, everybody. That is my take. If you have any questions in particular, definitely drop them down in the comment section below, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. But I thoroughly enjoyed the conference. It was well worth it, and what I was so happy to attend. And yes, like I said, I would definitely look to attend again in the future. All right, everybody, you all have a blessed rest of your week, and we will see you next Wednesday. Bye.